All right, we got 14 minutes left. Let's map it out because we got a nostalgic film study tonight, right?
We have time for it.
Yes, we have a nostalgic film study. All right, map it out. Predictions. Who wants to go first?
I'll go first.
You don't seem very confident in this.
I just know that anytime I speak, he jumps on it, so I'm trying to tentatively.
Doesn't seem like he's going to.
He just look at him over there. He's fuming.
You know what? The best thing for you is when he throws this up, just go 100 miles an hour nonstop and talk over him.
No, but here's the problem. Watch this. So here's why I think the game's going to go down. I think Georgia's probably going to strike first on their first offensive drive.
That boy thought he had some shit. This is how I think this football game's going to go. I don't think Kentucky's offense is any good right now. Not at all. Absolutely bad. Wrong team to be running up against in terms of a defense if you are struggling. It's not just all the transfers, right? It's not just transfer offensive lineman, transfer wide receivers, transfer quarterback, transfer running back. It's a transfer OC. Dude just got there. He got there in February. They are just now trying to figure themselves out in terms of an offensive game plan. Here's the problem, though. You got a bye week. You got Alabama coming up. You beat the brake drums off of Clemson. Very early on, looked like Clemson was never going to, all you had to do was score 14 points to win that football game. Very early on in that football game, that's what it felt like. Second half opened it up a little bit. But then you got Tennessee Tech at home. We ain't got to show nothing against Tennessee Tech to get up on them. Not at all. We can beat them with the basic install. And then guess what? Now, you're telling me, I think Brooksy's telling us we're going to get up 17-3 in this football game, show some offensive explosivity really early, get up on the scoreboard, and then everybody in the stadium is going to go, well, shit, this game's over. At 17-3, 14-point lead, whenever it happens. It could look like 24-10. It could look like 17-3. It could look like however it looks like. The moment there is a 2-score lead, this Kentucky offense is so bad, and Georgia's coaching staff knows, I would imagine by that point in the game, this Kentucky offense is so bad that we can squat on it the next 2 quarters of this football game. We could run the clock out, get out of here with a 14-point win, and a win's a win, baby. We don't care because we've got 3 top 5 matchups on our schedule moving forward. We ain't gonna show nobody nothing. So I think that's what we got going on our hands Saturday, boys and girls. I think Georgia jumps out to a relatively early lead. If you're in the chat right now thinking Georgia's gonna put up 48 points on Saturday, why? There ain't no need to. This football game will be over the moment you've got a 2-score lead, and I think they squat on it after that.
Yeah,
I got Georgia winning 31-10.
Yeah,
I also think there's a possibility for a 24-6 football game on the slate.
Yeah, I
just think Georgia's defense is just too good. Kentucky's offense is just too bad.
You're gonna run out eventually.
Yeah, I know. Go ahead.
People look at this game and think about last year where Georgia had to come out and kind of prove that they had this quote explosive offense. It was on the heels of a really bad Auburn game. People were really questioning Mike Bobo, so they did come out and sling this down the field.
Now you see how fast he's going.
This is how I usually talk about it. I mean, do you want me to popcorn read it?
Go.
I think Georgia strikes first on offense. They march down the field. Looks like very much like it's going to be like, oh, shit, here we go. They're about to beat the shit out of them. Then after that, it's probably a slow bleed. I think you see something like a 17-3 game at the half where it's just Georgia. What?
Nothing. Keep going.
Where Georgia's just leaning on Kentucky. It's probably going to be more of the same. I do think Kentucky gets some sort of phantom touchdown here, whether it's just like a really good driver. It's like, hey, Kentucky put everything together there. Or I don't know what happened to Georgia's defense. I have Georgia winning this game 38-10.
Mm-hmm. I think Kentucky gets the ball first. Georgia sets the tone quick. Nice quick three. I mean, just gets Kentucky completely off of the field. Georgia gets the ball, walks it down. Nice 10-play touchdown drive to start. 70 yards. Really, I mean, you want to talk about setting the tone on both sides of the football. That's kind of how I envision the start to this football game going. I think Georgia forces another 3-and-out. After that, gets the ball back and scores off an explosive, making a quick 14-0. And at that point, Kentucky rolls over. They die. Georgia coasts on to a victory. And I think Georgia just controls this football game from the very beginning of this. I don't think Kentucky's going to put up much of a fight. I don't think Georgia's going to do anything to fire back after that. And I think it's just going to be a nice and easy conference win for Georgia. And I have a final score of 34-9.
So here would be my question because I know what's going to happen. If it goes out the way I think it's going to, I mean, you got them 38-10. I feel like Georgia fans are going to walk away with that relatively happy. But if it's a 24-6 football game, there's bitching, moaning, complaining in the chat.
There's some people with some issues.
I already know right off rip. And they're going to say, we got Bama coming up in a couple weeks. Why are we not offensively doing well? What is going on? We're going to have to score points in 2 weeks. I would say, just like I said to you, what if I told you going into this season you could win, you could be 3-0 and go into the Alabama matchup with them having no real earthly idea of who you are as a football team or what you're capable of. Meanwhile, you've had all the time in the world to prepare for them and not hide or not show any of your cards that you have out available. I think that's a great possibility on the doorsteps of Georgia, right?
And the fact that when you add into that conversation, Alabama kind of had to reach into their bag a little bit to pull away from USF.
Mm-hmm.
Just add that.
Yeah, I do think you have two teams, whether it's Georgia and Alabama, that have circled this game and kind of like, all right, we can get through these first 3 games of the season relatively easily, and they're tucking a lot of things away. So it is leading up to what is going to be a very big matchup, and I do think you've seen Alabama and Georgia kind of hide some things from each other. So that's probably what it is.
Boys, I ain't even gonna lie to you. I'm a little bit exhausted. Can we pull up that